Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
Abbott Elementary.
Hey y'all, hey. Hi everyone. Welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura. And we're sisters who watch everything. TV, movies, sports, music videos, concerts, and even elementary school teachers going to boring conferences.
That's right.
We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching
Abbott
Elementary.
Season 2. The most recent season of ABC's Emmy-award-winning comedy.
Okay, so now let's get into the background of the show, Abbott Elementary. I mean, if you listen to our first episode,
which I hope you did,
which you better have,
that's a great way to get to know us.
Right, yes. An important watch. So we talk about our best movies and TV of 2022, and both of our number one TV shows was Abbott Elementary season 1. Woo! So we love the show.
Big fans. It's so good.
Yeah, so good. So Shelby, do you want to tell us a little bit about the background, Quinta Brunson, all of it?
So Abbott Elementary came out beginning of 2022. I'd say it was like a much needed network comedy. We were craving something like this.
Yes.
Especially since Blackish and other shows had ended. And it's created, written by Quinta Brunson. She is a Black woman who is known for comedy. Some of you may have, for Deep Cut, some of you may know her from very popular BuzzFeed videos back in the day.
That's where I know her from. Immediately when I saw that this show was happening, I was like, oh my gosh, Quinta from BuzzFeed. You know, I feel like a lot of people in our generation grew up watching a lot of those videos. So, and she was one of the most popular, figures from that channel. And she also is known for a Black Lady sketch show as well. She's one of the stars, creators, writers of that show.
Yeah, so she... if you've seen that, it's on HBO. It's like literally a Black Lady sketch show. So like sketch comedy with various Black female comedians. And that is also really funny. The newest season is actually out right now. And so we had known Quinta, but this was like her big shot, like her own show that she created on a major network, ABC. And it's inspired by her own upbringing, her own mom, who was a Philadelphia public school teacher. So you can sense the authenticity when you watch it.
Yeah.
And you know, like Quinta knows this world really well and the cast of characters, and she's just been able to create like such a authentic, fun, light show that anyone can watch. And we showed our papa the show, like from grandparents to like kids. Like this is a show everyone can watch it.
Literally anyone can watch it. Any generation, like you said, kids can watch it. People like us, young people, teenagers, as well as 80-year-olds can enjoy and watch the show. Yeah, we showed our grandpa and he loved it. Like was cracking up, laughing throughout the whole episode. Yeah. So it's just such a fun show to watch. It's something I look forward to watching every single week.
Yeah, and we don't really have a lot of like network comedies these days, so
it's dying.
It really is feeling a void, and it's nice to have something that has 20 plus episodes in a season, and like every week you can turn on the TV, or in our case, watch it on Hulu the next day.
That's right.
And have like a fun show that you can watch and look forward to consistently.
Right.
I'll also say some people have mentioned it's like a Black version of The Office.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because it's a mockumentary format. And the difference is instead of like a typical office and corporate environment, it's set in a Philadelphia public school. So it's Black. So it's slightly different, but it's a fun. And I think the mockumentary format's really fun because you're able to get a good glimpse at certain characters and what they care about.
For sure. Yeah, I totally agree. I love the mockumentary, the interview style. You really get to know the characters and the personality as well. And when they stare at the camera, that's always the best. We love when that happens.
Gregory for sure has the best look at the camera.
For sure. He's definitely the Jim of the show.
Yes, he is the Jim of Abbott Elementary.
I agree.
And I think moving on to our like expectations for this season, we both love season 1, obviously. It was on our best content 2022 list. And so I was just looking forward to building upon the success of season 1. Like I was ready for more Abbott. I could not wait. I needed more laughter, particularly in our crazy world. Like, give me Abbott, give me comedy. I was just super excited.
I totally agree. Yeah, we loved the first season. It was so fun. It felt like the show we really need right now. And it's also so great. I mean, it won all these Emmys and all these different awards between season 1 and the premiere season 2. So we were just so excited that the show is getting so much love and that a network comedy can be critically acclaimed and be the best show on television as it won all these awards.
I hadn't seen that in a while. Like 30 Rock from NBC, I'd say in the 2010s was that. Like it was winning like every year, but then since then a lot of cable and streaming shows, whether it's The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel or Atlanta or Barry, those were the titles that were winning comedy. So
so it's refreshing to see, you know, a lighthearted, you know, network show winning, you know, the top awards. It's amazing. So that was exciting to see. So the expectations, I think, were high. More people were watching the show. So coming in season 2, I was just excited to see what was going to happen, you know, after all these awards, all the hype. I think that gave a lot of momentum into the season. And also at the end of season 1, you know, there were some kind of big things that happened. For example, I mean, Tariq and Quinta, they broke up. They're no longer together, and they were a couple.
Tariq and Janine broke up.
Tariq and Janine.
I know, I'm like, Laura, not Quinta, Janine.
Not Quinta, Janine. Quinta's character, Janine, was in a 10-year relationship with this guy, Tariq, who is so funny on the show. And they broke up. Yes. They broke up at the end of season 1. So I was intrigued to see how Janine was going to move on and be more fun and spontaneous and all this stuff. Be in her hot girl era, you know.
For sure. Her attempt at a hot girl era.
I know, Janine's attempt at a hot girl era. Exactly.
Yeah, so I agree. I feel like that was something big leading into season 2, as well as just the future of Abbott. Like, could Ava be a good principal?
Right.
How would the teachers continue to like handle all their students? Now Melissa is covering like 2 classes at once. Like there were a lot of things. I was just curious to see like how the teachers were able to handle everything that was coming their way.
Right.
Including like one of the big storylines of season 2, the potential charter school acquisition.
Right. Big storyline.
Yeah. So one of the many guest stars of the season was Leslie Odom Jr. He played a former Abbott student, Draymond, and he loved Barbara.
Yeah.
He loved the iconic Shirley Rouse character, Barbara. She was a great teacher to him, but he didn't really believe in Abbott. So he was focused on helping it become a charter school, which caused a lot of drama throughout this season.
Right. And I think what was really cool about the storyline is that this is something that is happening in America right now. It's very topical. In college, I met so many friends who went to charter schools, and it's kind of seen as this better alternative and, you know, a better opportunity for students from, you know, more low-income backgrounds, not as wealthy areas, to have like more success and more opportunities in schooling. So I thought it was really interesting to get Quinta's perspective and the perspective within Abbott Elementary, because I feel like the point of view and how charter schools are seen in society is very positive and like, oh, we're helping people. But in reality, you're displacing students and it's not giving equal opportunity to students, as we saw. Some students are getting kicked out. Other students are going to have to, if they were at Abbott, they won't even be able to get into the charter school. So what happens now? So it was really cool seeing all the cons and the pushback to a charter school within the show. So I loved, you know, the real world implications and the storylines this season for sure.
Yeah, I felt like it was really topical, and I loved how in the end the charter school did not win
Right.
because the parents fired back that their students would be more cared for here, and they didn't have to like pass an exam to get into a charter school,
Right.
right? To be at Abbott, you just had to live in the neighborhood. This is your school. The teachers care about you. Your development and growth matters. Whereas at a charter school, it was more about like numbers and test
Right.
scores. There was less focus on each individual child, which again,
Right.
I think a pretty interesting point to come across given how how many people are talking about charter schools more broadly in our country.
Right, for sure. And another interesting point with charter schools is that the teachers' jobs would be at risk as well if Abbott became a charter school. So it just would change so much about Abbott. Abbott would not be who it is if it changed. So it was cool seeing the community really rally together, fight for the
Yes.
school, and be like, no, we're not going to do this. We love the school. We love our community. You're not going to come in and try and make us better. So
Public schools matter.
yes, yes. So that was such an uplifting, heartwarming storyline. We love to see it. Props to you, Quinta,
Yes.
for that
Yeah,
storyline.
Quinta and the entire writers room.
Yes, that's it. And another, so also at the end of season one and throughout season one, there's been a little romantic chemistry, a little tension between Janine and Gregory. And of course, Janine was in that relationship with Tariq, so nothing ever happened season one. But then, with Janine being single this season, being in her hot girl era, she has a friend come in and be like,
I
Janine,
can't
we
get over you
gotta.
saying hot girl era. Did she even say that on the show? Or is
No,
that
she
you
didn't. She didn't. That's
declaring?
just
Yeah. Like
me.
what?
But it's just, you know, Janine living her best single life. So a friend is coming in, like, girl, we're gonna get you to the club, we're gonna update your clothes, we're gonna go out and meet some guys. And when Janine goes to the club with her friend, she sees Gregory and they hang out, they start dancing. So we see more of, you know, this, you know, little love connection between Janine and Gregory. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, and another thing I'll also flag is that Gregory was dating people as well. So
Yes.
I feel like they were having a connection, but were like, oh, I'm in a relationship. Oh, I'm with someone. So that was a bit of a blocker in season one and season two. But I feel like the will they won't they storyline is iconic. It's a
Of
classic romantic
course.
trope. We love to see it. I think it was great to kind of build upon their connection and have them both realize like, oh, this is a friend, like that could be more like, oh, I really like seeing them outside of work, like bumping into them. Like it was awkward, I think, at the club. But then when they actually started talking and dancing, right, they had a great time.
Yeah.
So you could see them coming outside of their shells and just trying to embrace being each other's company. Like, yeah, it's okay. Like I might have feelings for this person and that's fine.
Right. And yeah, so I feel like in season two, we really kind of explore their connection and their friendship blossoms into a little bit more than that. And Janine, obviously, you know, she was being a little messy this season. She was dating Gregory's friend Maurice, which, you know, turned out to
Vince
be,
Staples,
yes, Vince
guest starring
Staples
role.
guest star. So that proved to be a little messy for Janine. And it seemed like she didn't really like him that much, but she still just dated him. I didn't get that. I was like, Janine, you don't actually like
Yeah,
this guy. And then, but he was really into her, and then she ended
he
up really
was.
hurting him. Um, and so while she was dating Maurice at this conference, I mean, the big teachers conference was a big episode. Um, Janine and Gregory kiss.
Finally.
I mean, finally, but also, oh no, like
About time. Yeah, I guess, oh no, technically,
yeah,
because she was with Maurice, and I don't think Gregory was with anyone at the time
no,
anymore. Um, because he and the parent that he was dating clearly had nothing in common. So
no,
I think they eventually
Yeah,
ended
they
that.
ended things.
But it wasn't oh no, but also these two clearly like each other. So
I
I
know.
was like, finally, get out of your head. Stop denying your blessing.
That's right. That's right. It's so clear that they're such a good match.
So
And so they kissed, which it was really spur of the moment. It was just like a little peck. But Janine was dating Maurice, and then she goes to Bone Town, which is a rib place in Philly, and she sits down Maurice, and then Janine just overthinks. She does too much. She's like, oh my gosh, I need to tell Maurice, but I should bring Gregory because Gregory was involved and they're friends. Mistake. Big mistake. Why would you bring Gregory to
she
break
brings
up with him?
Gregory to break up with Maurice.
Bad.
Maurice does not take it well, obviously,
No.
and thinks that she just brought Gregory to like rub it in his face. And
Girl.
it just, she did not think it through, or she
No.
thought about it way
much.
too much to the
Too
point
much.
where she didn't think it through.
Right.
And then that even though they are both single, they somehow find a way to not be together because Janine thinks that she's being selfish.
Right.
Which I
not incorrect.
Yeah, like I guess yes, by some of her actions might have been selfish, but I don't think that means you can't be with Gregory. But hey, like
Right.
I guess she's gonna do what she's gonna do, and if she feels like she can't be with Gregory right now, but
right.
I feel like she could acknowledge being selfish, but still wanting to be with him.
I agree. Yeah. So basically, at the end, Janine and Gregory is like, I'm going to tell Janine how I
he
feel.
Professes his love.
Professes his love for Janine.
Sweet.
I know. It was so
and Jacob
sweet.
Found out and got so excited for them.
I know. Yeah, it was really sad. So Gregory professes love to Janine, and Janine actually runs into Maurice, I think the day before, a couple days before, and he says something like, you were being selfish when you broke up with me with that whole situation. And she was like, what? I was selfish? Yeah. And she really just gets in her head like she always does. She overthinks the situation. And then when Gregory professes his love for her, she's like, I really care about you and I can't hurt you. I'm being too selfish right now. And this is not the right time for us to explore things. That's basically what she says.
Yeah, which again, I was a little disappointed by.
Right.
I do think it's very mature of her to realize that, and maybe she needs to take some time to figure herself out.
Yeah.
But given, I think it took so much for Gregory to get to that point, I was so disappointed. Ugh. I also do think, again, classic sitcom romantic trope, they can't get together that quickly.
No,
right? They need to draw it out. Right, Jim and Pam didn't get together right away. Monica and Chandler didn't get together right away. Like, I think they're gonna try and drag it out. Which, hey, it's smart. It's smart.
Right. What we're gonna watch. So
I'm gonna stay tuned.
Exactly. So that was a little disappointing, but
big plot point.
Huge plot point this season. So that kind of wraps up their storyline for the most part. We'll talk about some of our, favorite funny moments, but yeah, that's kind of SparkNotes version
Janine and Gregory.
About Janine and Gregory. So yeah, another big theme was mental health. And this is such an important conversation. I think a lot of people are really starting to prioritize their mental well-being. I think especially within the Black community, this is really important to talk about because a lot of us struggle with mental health and a lot of us don't feel comfortable talking about it or pursuing therapy, etc. So I love that the writers made this, a big storyline for several episodes. And for example, Janine takes a self-care day. She's like, I'm going to do a solo trip. I'm going to do me, just take this time on my own and yeah, go on vacation.
Yeah, no, I think to your point, I think a lot of shows and a lot of people are starting to tackle mental health.
Yeah.
I thought it was even more powerful though as teachers and educators to be talking about it, because teachers have such hard jobs and are dealing with a lot, like whether it's mental health of their students or dealing with parents, school shootings and safety. It's crazy everything
go through
teachers
so
have to
much,
do, and a lot of times they're not being paid well and don't have great benefits. So I love that they tackled mental health for educators this season. And you also saw teachers like Barbara and Melissa, who were older and always like to have it together, realize like actually it's okay to not be okay. And for Barbara, it was when she accidentally started a fire with her candle in the school. It's like crazy. Like when you think about it, she's like the most rule follower, kind teacher, and she freaks out because she's the one to blame for starting a fire. And it really gets to her. Right. And by the end of the episode, she realizes when talking to the investigator / counselor, like, yeah, actually, I'm not okay about this. And it was okay for her as a very high-performing, independent, powerful Black woman to know I don't have to have everything in control. I can admit I need help with this.
And I can make mistakes and it's okay. Like, she forgot about her candle. It happens, you know?
It happens.
And I think Barbara is on this pedestal, like you said, as the oldest teacher and the best teacher and all of that. So she has this standard that she has to keep and uphold. So I think there's all this pressure on her to be like, oh, I have to keep my composure. I have to be the best. So when she makes a mistake like that, that affects the whole school, she's, of course, really insecure about that. So it was cool to see, you know, Barbara be a little bit more human and real and not this kind of stoic figure, you know?
Yeah, because that's the reality, right? She is a person. She is a human. And she can have those feelings and make mistakes. Right. So it was good for them to humanize her. And I also liked how they did something similar with Melissa. Melissa, similarly, like, I can do it all. And she somehow was handling 2 different classes. She was given like 2 classes to oversee, and she thought she could do it on her own, but she needed to get a teacher's aide because her teacher's aide ended up being not great. Another iconic guest star, Kayla Monteroso Meja as Ashley. She was the teacher's aide, and she was not the best,
but hilarious. So funny.
She was hilarious. But again, Melissa, similar to Barbara, realizing like I cannot do it all on my own. I need help. I thought that was a really important storyline too. I
agree. Yeah, we need, you know, we think we can do it all, but it's so important to ask for help. So that was really fun. And plus, yeah, the aide, she's hilarious. Yeah, she needs to be in more stuff. Yeah, definitely gotta get her more roles.
She is hilarious. Here for her.
Yeah, definitely. So we love, the mental health conversations this season were really, really cool to see. That was great. Yes, and like, and another big theme, that kind of ties into mental health as well, was family. Family was big.
Yeah, and a lot of sibling and family dynamics.
Sibling dynamics, mother dynamics, a lot of that. So yeah, we talked about Melissa. And Melissa and her sister, they have beef, but we find out just a little bit, and we find out that her sister is also a teacher, working at a rival school.
Yes, and they have a lot of drama. They have had beef since Melissa thinks that her sister did the family pasta recipe incorrectly. Her sister doesn't agree, but they've literally had beef since. Right. And they are very proud Italians, so messing with the pasta recipe is a big deal. But it was really hilarious just seeing them play off each other throughout the season. And it was good to get more background on Melissa and her family. And Janine, of course, tried to get Melissa and her sister.
Classic Janine
intervening.
Meddling in people's business.
Her sister to get along. It backfired. But what's great, like at the end of this season, they kind of mended fences.
Yeah. They see each other at the teachers' conference and they start bonding again and speaking. And so there's a bridge. They're on
there's
the
a
road.
bridge. Basically, they bond over getting mad at the same person.
There we go.
Classic. That's how they found their common ground.
Yeah. So the Shementi sisters, they're back.
Hilarious.
And also Janine and her sister have some complicated dynamics. Yes. And we've heard Janine talk about her sister before. Be like, oh, my sister is so perfect. She does all this stuff. And then we find out, and then we finally get to meet her sister this season.
Yes. Her sister, Aisha, is played by Io Edaberry. Again, great guest stars this season.
Yes, another very funny lady.
Io is known from The Bear, which again, one of our favorite shows from last year.
Yes.
And I'm so excited. I feel like that has catapulted her, and we're seeing her in a lot more.
Great.
But she was great as Janine's sister. And they're just very different. Very different. And would butt heads. And that really became clear when she came to visit Janine.
Yeah, and we see them, Janine's hosting like a board game night, and the board games Janine has are just too complicated. No one knows how to play.
It's a little dry.
They're boring. It's dry.
Not how you want to spend your Friday night. Or
No. So then Aisha, the sister, is like, Janine, I want to go out, like I'm tired of this. And Janine's feelings are hurt, and then they start talking about their mom again. It's just clear they have a lot of unresolved feelings, some jealousy, all of that. But it was, so we see more of Janine and kind of some insight into why the way she is, how she's a little corny and goofy, but also kind of reserved, doesn't have like the biggest social life. And I think it definitely has to do with her family and how she's not super close with her sister and her mom.
Speaking of her mom, another iconic guest star.
I mean, iconic, yeah.
Taraji P. Henson guest starred as Janine's mom. Another polar opposite. It's like, how does Janine fit in? Like, her and her mom are very different. And we see that Janine ends up taking care of her mom quite a bit, like giving her money, even though Janine's a public school teacher and doesn't make that much. But they have I don't even know how to describe it, but not a healthy dynamic.
No, it was, you could tell that there's a lot of lack of trust, and it was kind of uncomfortable. It seemed like literally polar opposites. Taraji was wearing this super over the top big fur coat, bright colors, and Janine wears, really long skirts and long sleeves. Like, she's pretty modest, but her mom was very over the top. And she and her mom don't really talk.
Loud.
Yeah, very loud.
Quiet.
And Janine and her mom don't really talk very much, but then her mom just shows up to Abbott out of nowhere. And
out of the blue.
Why are you here? We haven't talked in months. She's like, oh, I was just in the neighborhood, wanted to say hi. And she's like, well, you've never come to visit me. Like, why are you doing this now? So it was just very fishy. You could tell that there was definitely tension within the relationship, which was definitely tough to watch. But at the end of that episode, it was nice to see Janine still prioritize herself, because her mom asked for money and she was like, well, I'm going to help you figure it out, but I'm not going to give you all the money. I'm going to give you some, and then we're going to make a plan, and we're going to make sure that there's a way that you can pay this on your own. Because Janine, like we've talked about, she planned a weekend for herself, a solo trip, and she could have easily given up her trip, given that money to her mom, but she was like, no, I'm still going to do this trip for me, but we're going to figure it out together, the best way for you to get this money.
Yeah, so that was a good opportunity of growth for Janine. And I think their mother-daughter dynamic. So agree. I definitely think for all of these kind of complicated dynamics, there was some kind of resolution at the end of the season, which is great.
Right. Definitely. And we've talked about this reviewing other shows, how we didn't like the resolution, or there wasn't enough of one, or it came too late. I think Abbott does a really good job at having these conflicts, but also tying them in together, making sure there's some resolution, and the viewer feels satisfied. Like, okay, these two characters are on a road to recovery and
For sure.
working towards, a solution.
Yeah, I agree. And what was great is you also saw some family dynamics with other characters, like Gregory and his dad,
Yeah.
the landscaper extraordinaire.
Mm-hmm.
His dad came to visit, and we saw Gregory highlight his gardening skills. Um, we also saw Jacob and his boyfriend interact more, and Jacob go to his boyfriend's family's house for the holidays. Like we saw, which was good. I think we got to know a little bit more about all the characters, which I think is what happens when you have a second season, a longer season order, right? 20 plus episodes, which was helpful, I think, just to get a better sense of all the characters.
Exactly. So we went through our themes. Now we gotta talk about the funny moments, like this is one of our favorite comedies.
It's a comedy, right? We're laughing.
Yeah, it's so funny. We're constantly laughing through these episodes.
One of my favorite moments, and probably yours too.
Oh yeah.
Is so Janine dating Maurice, Gregory dating a parent at the school. Clearly not matches with
not
either.
the match.
Not the match.
Good matches.
Gregory gets like a cute kind of
Lego
gift.
It's like a flower arrangement Lego
that she would have to make. And Janine sees and like, wow, that's so thoughtful.
Yeah, they basically Gregory asks, oh, Janine, what do you think of this gift? I'm going to give it to my girlfriend for Valentine's Day. And she's like, oh my gosh, I love it so much. She's going to think it's amazing. So thoughtful. And then Gregory gives the gift to his girlfriend. And she's like, what? I have to make it?
She was not a fan. And then Maurice gets a Telfar bag for Janine, which for y'all that don't know, it is like a very popular, trendy bag that is made by a Black designer based in Brooklyn. I have two, and they're hard to get.
Very hard.
It was like a big deal for Maurice to give Janine that for Valentine's Day.
That's such a nice gift. Like,
it's such a nice gift. She gets it and opens it, trying to figure out what it is.
She's like, what's inside? There's nothing inside.
So wild that she did not know what a Telfar bag was. I think that was like the best way to show the kind of person Janine is.
I know, that was hilarious. So funny. When she was opening it up, being like, wait, where's the gift? Hilarious. And then Gregory's girlfriend is like, Janine, you got such a good gift. Like, I wish I got that. And then, of course, Janine wishes she got the Lego flower set. So it just shows
further showing they were with the wrong people.
They were with the wrong
Gregory
people.
And Janine are meant for each other.
Literally.
It was a very clever way to show that. Clever, funny way to show that.
Yes, great writing. Oh yeah, and you mentioned Melissa and her sister fighting over the pasta recipe.
Hilarious. I think anytime Melissa's mad or fighting on screen, hilarious. Yeah. Similarly, how I feel with Gregory, anytime Gregory is doing something odd, like pretending not to garden, but gardening because he can't help himself because he grew up the son of a landscaper. Like he's really likes bland food, like he didn't like pizza. No. Him always looking at the camera funny. Like anytime he does something weird, it's hilarious.
I totally agree. Yes, and the teachers conference was such a fun big episode. Yeah, and Barbara and Melissa were having the time of their lives. Like just chilling, vibing. We're like, oh, we're gonna get the wine over here. We're off to the free food. We're going to the party. They were living
at the pool.
Exactly. They were like, oh yeah, we're gonna, write down a couple notes, say that we went to this session, this panel, but actually be at the pool. Crazy. I love it, girls. I love it.
It was hilarious because it did not seem like that cool of a conference at all, but it was like their Super Bowl. They were so pumped.
Yes, they're so excited.
And of course, Jacob also had a good time. Like he found like his like white teacher community.
Oh yeah.
It was hilarious. Like he realized like, wow, I'm not alone. There are other kind of like hip white teachers teaching at diverse schools, and
yes, who are
they're
woke.
just like me.
Yes, the woke white teacher
The
squad.
woke white teacher squad. So
yes, he found his people. And of course, like anytime Ava is on screen, just anytime. She
iconic.
Is so funny. I also
Janelle James is hilarious.
Janelle James is one of the best gifts that this show gave us. And one moment that really stands out to me was when Janine goes to the club with her friend. She sees Gregory, but Ava is also there. And Ava's in this like big white coat, strutting around. She's like, oh yeah, I'm here like every single weekend. She's like, I know everyone here. She's like, Janine, I've never seen you here. All this stuff. It was so funny. She ran the place. She knew the security guards. She was in an entourage, had
iconic.
Like a car drop her
and then
off.
we find out her like boo thing is Andre Iguodala, who's an NBA star.
Too much. Ava is too much. I love her. Hilarious.
She's great.
We got to get into our categories.
Yes, I know. This is y'all's favorite part.
Yes. Okay, who did you love to hate this season?
So we've already said this before. Certain categories are harder for certain shows.
Right.
Abbott, I just think it's hard to hate anyone, but for my love to hate, it's Tariq. As you mentioned, Tariq is Janine's ex-boyfriend, who's like a wannabe rapper. He's played by the comedian Zach Fox. He is hilarious. He's known for one of the most iconic episodes last season when he like creates a rap and performs for the kids.
Amazing.
And
amazing.
This season, he makes a couple appearances and is brought in as like a performer to help during like a fundraiser for Abbott when they're trying to stop the charter school. And it's just every time he's back, it's hilarious. Another time, Janine is like, "Oh, maybe I might like Tariq still," and they go out for like lunch, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I have a girlfriend." And she's like, "What?" Like Tariq is just such a clown. He's so messy.
Classic Tariq, yeah. He's so funny. He's definitely one of my favorite characters. I think we need more of him. I think we saw him in the beginning of the season, but I don't think we saw him at all in the second half. And I know we're trying
for the surprise like performance for the charter school thing.
Yeah. We saw him then. I feel like I know again Janine's moving on up, but I feel like he's definitely a character I missed. I would love to see more of him next season. He's so funny.
And you have the same love to hate, or
yes, I do. I agree with that. I think I could also throw in there Jacob. Like, I think he's such a fun character. I wouldn't say I hate him, but I think he's so fun to make fun of, if that makes sense. Like, I think he's pretty harmless, but I think he toes the line of like, being the white savior complex kind of thing, and like saying things he shouldn't say.
Like when they're doing the mural and he doesn't want them to do the puppets. Like, don't you want something more meaningful?
I know. And the kids are like, we want the puppets. Yeah. So it's like, I think Jacob just gets in his own ways sometimes. And I love the way that everyone clowns him and like makes fun of him. So I feel like the actual characters kind of love to hate him, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I would throw like honorable mention. I love Jacob. He's so funny, but I think he's that woke white person who like wants to do his best, be there for the community, but gets in his own way. And one of my favorite quotes, it might be from season 1, but it's like, he's like, the real cancer is ignorance. And Gregory's like, no, the real cancer is cancer. So that is one of my favorite quotes. He's
very woke. He's a woke white guy.
Too woke for his own good.
Yeah, yes. But he's funny, and I ran into the actor like Chris Perfetti when I was on a hike at Runyon.
Shelby has all these celebrity sightings. It's insane. Just at Runyon.
What happens when you live in LA?
Very true. Okay, and like you said, it's kind of hard to, you know, hate and quote someone on this show. So I agree with your hate to hate. Leslie Odom Jr.'s character, Draymond.
Yeah, Draymond.
Yeah, he was kind of evil.
He's evil. Leave Abbott alone.
I know.
Like, it was annoying that he was trying to destroy Abbott, and clearly it seems like he wanted to start the charter school for the wrong reasons. Like, he was making it seem like it was about giving kids better like education, but it was really telling when a kid, his mom took him out of Abbott and brought him to the charter school, and then he was like kicked out of the charter school because he didn't have like high enough grades or something. That's not how you support kids, right? Like, it's like backwards almost.
Right.
So I do think he was a bit misguided. And also, to be someone who graduated from Abbott and was really successful and loved Barbara,
take Abbott
take it down, something was wrong.
Yeah, it was weird. I agree. Yeah, he's the best person for that category. Not a fun character to watch or root for. Yeah. Okay, but love to love. I think this category is really easy for the show, but there's definitely two standouts.
Yes, and I might have to throw in another one too. I think, of course, Ava, the principal, played by Janelle James,
iconic.
I literally feel like every time she's on the screen, you laugh. Like, when she's
so funny.
An awful principal, when she's distracted, when she realized, like, when she had to be like a substitute teacher and actually realized, like, oh, this is hard. Like, she just didn't even think teaching was hard. Like, she just does things that are hilarious. And you like learn new things about her, like when she helps with the step team, when she is apparently like always at the club, like she
dating basketball superstars, right? Of course.
Like, every time she's on screen, she's hilarious. And it's also like Janelle's delivery. I feel like the way that she delivers lines,
I know,
is hysterical.
And the way she comes for Janine, so funny. Makes fun of her belts, her skirts, every time.
The way that she hits on Gregory, too much.
It's great. Yeah, Ava's hands down my favorite character. She's absolutely hilarious. I love her. And we also love Cheryl Lee Ralph, and her character Barbara is amazing.
Yeah, she and Cheryl Lee Ralph won an Emmy last year, which was long overdue.
Groundbreaking.
It was so exciting. And her performance as Barbara is great. I feel like we all probably have a Barbara in our lives or in our like history, like whether it was a teacher or a mentor, like just someone who is just like a very thoughtful and like an older kind of like matriarch that you can look to. So I feel like the way that she plays Barbara, just you can connect, you can resonate, and she just does such a good job.
Right, exactly. She just feels like that figure that feels like home for so many people. So, and Cheryl Lee Ralph plays her so well. So happy she finally got her dues. And as
she's
you
getting
know,
her flowers. She performed at the Super Bowl. I mean, she's
insane.
Everywhere.
I know. Her peak is, I mean, she's been acting for such a long time, and of her rise, you know, is right now, and she's in her 60s. So it's just so cool.
She looks amazing.
The fact she looks insane. She looks so beautiful. So the fact that she has just grown in popularity so much in the past couple years, I'm just so happy to see that for her. So we love Barbara, love Cheryl Lee Ralph. For sure.
And I had to throw in someone else. I mean, here's the thing. The cast is great. I literally can say everyone is a love to love. But Mr. Johnson,
hilarious,
played by William Stanford Davis, hilarious. He is such comic relief. And I just, there's so many scenes, like when you find out, like he's answering like the helpline. He's like in the janitor's closet answering the helpline.
I can't.
When he, like Gregory wears a hat and everyone's making fun of his hat. Mr. Johnson takes it, puts it on. They're like, wow, that looks
great.
They're
like, wow, amazing. Stunting on
commentary. He's like always around, like making jokes. He's great.
It's amazing. I love him too. And remember the episode when they're trying to figure out Ava got tickets to
Oh, you have free
see
tickets to a Sixers game.
Yes. And somehow Mr. Johnson ends up with the tickets. It was
Because they
so
vote on
funny.
who deserves it, and everyone votes for him.
Because they thought no one was going to vote for him. So now Mr. Johnson got courtside tickets.
Hilarious.
I can't.
And I think it also shows like how likable he is. And he's just, and again, I feel like everyone probably remembers, whether it's the cafeteria worker or the janitor, like people like that. You have people like that in your life. And I think I love how they're just giving life to, like, most shows, like you the janitor is an extra, but in this case, like, he's an actual character, and I think that matters.
Right. And they do the same way in the show with the cafeteria staff. They're not as central as Mr. Johnson, but in both seasons there've been episodes highlighting the cafeteria workers. And this season, another one of my favorite moments was when Jacob is besties with everyone in the cafeteria. It's so funny. He's cracking jokes, high fives, dapping up people in the cafeteria, and you're like, how is Jacob homies with everyone? And then he brings Gregory, and they're like, we don't mess with Gregory.
Gregory's not great at small talk, no. And he's trying to work on it, because if he wants to be a principal, he needs to know how to get along with everybody. So he finally is able to connect with, like, the head cafeteria woman, who loves is it baseball? Yeah, they both happen to love the same baseball
they're from
team.
Baltimore.
So, yeah, they both happen to love the Orioles.
Yes.
And they hit it off. And it was such a good storyline, because it shows it's hard to, like, network and meet people for certain, like someone like Gregory. I think it's hard to do stuff like that. But once you find that point of connection, you can connect with anybody.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
You have that commonality, and boom. Now Gregory has a friend.
Exactly. And it was cool seeing Jacob really, be there for his friend, and Jacob just being a friend to so many people. So yeah, love the cafeteria staff. They're so funny. I loved in the first season how they were like clowning Janine about her stealing potatoes and doing too much. So they're super funny as well.
So clearly a lot to love. Like, there's so many characters who are great.
Exactly. It's amazing. So overall, if you haven't realized, Shelby and I love this show. We love the characters. Yes, it's still one of my favorite shows. And
it was a very entertaining season.
It was, yeah.
They covered a lot of ground. Like, as we said, it was like 20 plus episodes, and most shows don't do that anymore. So I think it's great that they were able to be so many storylines and guest stars, and they were able to start at the beginning with, like, a conflict between Melissa and her sister, that at the end kind of tie it together and resolve that conflict. Like, most shows aren't able to do that successfully, and I really like how they were able to cover a lot of ground this season, but, close it out well.
For sure. I agree. Like we talked about all the themes. What's great about Abbott Elementary is that it's so funny. Like, I'm constantly laughing out loud each episode, but they talk about real life topics, family dynamics, schools in America, which is such, a complicated system.
Mental health.
Right? But they talk about these issues in a way that are approachable and easy to understand for people like kids all the way to grandparents. So I think the show is so well done. And we still get, a little romance. Big theme was Gregory and Janine. So I'm intrigued to see how they approach their relationship next season. When will Janine be ready? And will Gregory still want to be with her? So, won't they? It'll continue.
Yeah, we didn't get to see them together quite yet, but we'll see. I'm sure they're gonna keep it going next season.
Yes, definitely. And we also got to see more of Ava, and we're excited for her growth. I feel like because season 1, she was just kind of, there for comedic relief, just a really funny character. But we got to see more of her, learn more about her story, her family. I remember one time she had to run off and go see her mom. And people were like, why is Ava leaving? All this stuff. But we see a little bit more of her personality and her background. And she's learning more. She's getting better at being a principal and finally actually doing some work. So I'm excited to see what Ava does next in season 3.
Agreed. And when we think about, what to watch, of course, season 3 later this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not affected by the writer's strike that's currently going on. But either way, super excited to get more Abbott Elementary soon.
Yeah, so excited for season 3 for all the reasons we talked about. There's a lot to discuss and cover with the cliffhangers from the end of season 2. And if you haven't watched it, you got to watch Quinta's SNL episode, Saturday Night Live. She's so funny. And we just love that she's now hosting one of the biggest shows on TV. That's a huge deal. And we're just excited to see what the rest of the cast does. We're seeing that Cheryl Lee Ralph is getting more gigs. I mean, saying at the Super Bowl, that's incredible. And she's also putting out music. Listen to Cheryl Lee Ralph's music.
I know. I would love to see some stand-up of Janelle.
Please. I want to see her hosting some stuff. Yeah, I know she hosted some ABC show. I watched an episode. It wasn't the best, but hopefully she's hosting more stuff. I would love to get her and see her at the head of a show. That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
everybody.
Listening.
We hope you liked this episode. We love Abbott. You can watch it on
ABC, Hulu,
HBO Max. You can see it a lot of places.
Yes, go watch it, go support. It's a truly wonderful show. And if you like this episode, go follow us on Spotify, go leave us a review on Spotify. You can also listen to us on YouTube, Apple Music, wherever you get and listen to podcasts. We are available. You can get all those links on our Instagram at Sisters Who Watch and follow us there.
Yes. Thanks, y'all. We appreciate the support.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Everything. Bye.